What up, my man of society? It is your host with the most, Shadow Logue, back at you with another video. Make sure you guys like and are subscribed. That's how you help my channel get into the algorithm. I would highly appreciate it. And it's free. You can't turn down free stuff. Now, what I wanted to get into was something that I was having a conversation with one of my subscribers, right? He was emailing me, and, we're talking just a little while ago. And he displayed, frustration and anger towards this other YouTuber, right? Who he dislikes, right, for being, a liar and manipulating. And so he sent me some clips, right? And I told the individual, I'm not interested in watching the clips, to be honest with you, because I just simply I don't care, what the individual is doing, right? And my subscriber told me, like, but doesn't that bother me? And no, it doesn't. Because I know that in this world, there's some individuals that just you can't change them, and they're gonna be the way that they are, whether it be, a cool individual or just a grimy sleazeball. Those are the kind of individuals that live in this world, That it is what it is. Now, in the conversation, he told me, why do you think that a lot of people still support him, even though everything has came out of him being a liar, cheat, a deadbeat, and all this and that he was naming. And the answer is quite simple, actually. YouTube is full of a lot of real individuals, right? Not meaning like content creators, but I mean like people that watch, right? Who are real people, right? That go through real life and real things, right? So there's individuals that have bad days and, are having a rough time. And this individual makes them laugh. And laugh is a very powerful medicine, right? Because they find him funny and he makes them laugh, right? So bringing some joy into their chaotic day or life. It's so easy for them to sympathize with him, sympathize for him, right? And the reason why they defend this illusion that he creates. It's kind of like saying somebody who's in a domestic relationship, right? The guy beats on the girl, or even women who beat on men, right? And their significant other still stays with them, even though they're being beaten. Like, why do they still stay with them? Why do they still, It's because, outside of the beating, they compliment them, they manipulate, right? So they tell them how much they care for them, how good looking they are, and those compliments that bring joy to this person's chaotic life. Because if they have an attachment like that to somebody, meaning they're scared of rejection, and they're scared to be they don't want to be left alone, right? Some traumatic event happened in their life where they just they have this attachment problem, right? They don't want to be outcast, right? So they just have this attachment thing. The reason why they stay latched onto these individuals, even though they're being mistreated, right? They manage to, turn the other cheek when it comes to that behavior, just to get a little bit of, compliments here and there, right? It's a very disturbing and tricky and unfortunately very sad thing, right? When somebody manipulates individuals and that they're being manipulated, but they just can't see it. Because, you just can't tell people what's wrong with somebody, or you can't tell them, what's going on, whatever. They have to realize it themselves. That's how therapy works. You just can't tell somebody what's wrong with them or what you think is wrong with them. You have to kind of like, have these conversations and know how to ask questions for these individuals to actually realize themselves what's happening, right? Because if you telling them is not going to do nothing. It's not going to change nothing, right? They have to realize this themselves. That's where the saying comes. You can't help somebody if he doesn't want to help themselves, right? So you have to know how to ask the questions in order for these individuals to realize what's going on. But they have to realize it on their own. You just can't tell them, right? Because they're gonna reject. They're gonna reject regardless if it makes sense or not. They're gonna reject what you're telling them. They have to kind of come to the realization themselves. That's why I don't tell people who they should and shouldn't watch, right? Because it's gonna make no difference what proof I bring. These individuals kind of have to see it themselves, right? Unfortunately, some people have to learn the hard way. There's that saying, and it's true, right? But that's just the way life is, But if you just, I get it, you don't want to see bad people win in this world, but trust me when I say that they're not winning. Money, riches, perfect example. Michael Jackson, Prince, Robin Williams, and all these other people who have drug problems, who overdose, and who have committed suicide, right? Who are multi-millionaires, billionaires as well, right? Look up the research, right? Of all these people who have money, who have committed suicide, who have drug and alcohol problems, right? Meaning that they're depressed, right? They're using these, using these things to escape reality, to escape how they normally feel, right? To bring joy into their life, because in real life they feel no joy, and all the money and success can't bring you, you know, joy or what you're really looking for in this world, right? It just makes it a lot easier to obtain things, but it doesn't change your overall feelings or maybe people that you care about, bringing them into your, you know what I'm saying? You can't buy loyalty, or self-respect. Those are things that you just can't buy, no matter how much you could try. And these individuals battle with that, right? And even though they could buy anything in this world and they live lovely according to everybody else, in their personal life, they feel no love. They feel unwanted. They feel worthless. So they take their lives. And it's cold. That's when I tell people money does not buy happiness. So even though you see success and everything, that doesn't necessarily mean that the person himself is living lovely. You know what I mean? People like that are very paranoid. They can't go out. They can't mingle around others. Sadly, but it's true. They can't, as much as they want to, consider themselves to be big and bad and gangster and all that, they can't do none of the things that they brag about. They can't go to their hood and kick it with these individuals. And now you can say, well, who wants to live life like that? Who wants to, even go down that route? Well, them, because they're speaking about it and that's what they want to portray themselves. They're telling the audience that this is how they are, all these things that they can't do. So apparently they're the ones that want to live that way because that's what they're saying. It's not that these individuals, are making this stuff about them. Hear their actual content. That's what they want to be. They want to be gangsters. They want to be thugs, just like these rappers. Even though they have all this money, or basketball players like John Morant, they over here talking about gats and being in the trap, and it's like, bro, you have all the money in the world. Why do you still want to? Because, like I said, they want to be respected like that. They want to be seen as gangster, but they know that they're not. And that bothers them. That the true facts is you're not a gangster. You're not this and that. You're not, and this is all a lie. And they, in the back of the head, deep down inside, they know that this is to be true. And that's what bugs them. That's why they choose to spell out the rhetoric, right? That contradicts itself, right? I don't want to be gangster anyways. I want to live a better life. But yet they're always talking about, like, man, we could get gangster, man. I was putting gas, man. I'll run up and ooh, I'll do ooh, like, man, you don't know what I have done. You don't know. Like, for somebody who doesn't want to claim to be this and that, like, you sure are talking about a whole lot of this and that. You get what I'm saying? So that bothers them, right? So the fact that they can't live like how they say they live, and the fact that they can't be around others, right? Because they always have to be worried about somebody, taking action on them, right? Because in this game, unfortunately, the consequences is a rough one, right? For, choosing to, spread rumors or lies or front or portray yourself a certain way, right? It comes with daily consequences. That's not a secret. Everybody knows that. And it's that very, reality that has them constantly looking over their shoulders and not being able to go to places where they want to go or do the things that they want to do. Even though they could say that they could, they truly can't. And even though they may be able to fool people here on YouTube, right, and tell people how they live, this, and that, in all true reality, once the camera stops rolling, reality hits them, like, that they can't do what they say, And people from the streets, we know this. That's why it doesn't bother, me. Like, I could care less what people come and say, because we know what it actually is, and we know what it was actually going on. So we know the truth. So Therefore, they could say whatever they want on the internet. We know what's really going on, and what really be true and what really not be true. Those who really know what's the truth know what it is. So therefore, they can say what they want. We know what the truth is. So even though people could defend them on the internet, and they could come on here and say what they want, the all true reality is that is no. That's not how it's going. How you guys say it is. You may not like that. You could still argue with it, but it is not going to change the true fact of things. And that's the cold-hearted truth, bro. That's why it doesn't bother me, because I know what's true and I know what's not true. And with their jokes and charm, they could persuade people to drag them into their bubble, right, to their fantasy world, right? But the all true reality is that that's all a lie, and none of that is true. And people in the real world know that that's not true, so therefore, and at the end of the day, that's the thing that's literally is what's taking away at them, in their self world, that they can't look at themselves in the mirror, and know that they're a righteous individual, because they're not. And that's the reason why they have to constantly be on here and trying to make themselves, or painting themselves to be this. That's why, like, when I have said, me and others out there, right, people could say what they want about us, and we don't get defensive. For what? People could say I'm a weenie or I'm lame, and honestly, I don't care. It doesn't bother me, not one bit. It doesn't. It truly doesn't. Because I can look at myself in the mirror and know what's real and what's not. And when I go out and mingle with homies, I know what's the truth, and they know what the truth is, right? From real experiences and real interactions. So therefore, what people say on the internet can't faze you, because in real world, that's not what it is. So what does it matter? Now, when you're trying to paint yourself to look, to be a certain way, then there's questions and red flags, like being raised like, well, why do you feel the need to do all this? Because in the real world, they can't be this, so therefore, the only way they could live out their fantasy is if they create this on the internet. And it's a psychological problem. I'm not here to belittle them, or to, take or bash them, or even call them out of their names and stuff like that. This is, all true reality, bro, of psychological trauma, bro. And it is unfortunate, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. But overall, that's just my thoughts on the subject. Hopefully I answered your question, my boy. But what do you guys think? Leave it in the comments. Shut up. Yeah.